Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. Today we are in Psalm 18, and this Psalm of David is one that is fully devoted to praising the relationship of David with God and all that God has done for him. In part one of our video on this chapter, we read through all 50 verses of the Psalm. And today, what we want to do is examine some of the key elements of that psalm. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to get into a lot of the nitty gritty details of the psalm, but let's look at about three things from this psalm that are helpful to understanding the components of the psalm, but also help to give us something that we can look to and that we can hold on to in our relationship with God as well. First of all, at the very outset of the psalm, you have, beginning in verse 1, the sentiment that David is going to lay out as to who the Lord is, or actually what the Lord is in their relationship. And so he says in verse 1, I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. David begins by talking about the fact that God is his rock, his fortress, his strength, his deliverer. There is quite a real sense in which David says, I hide behind him. He is my protector. He is the place of safety. He is the refuge. And so there is no trouble that comes, as David states it, that he does not go to God. That the Lord is not able to be called upon to help and to assist in the given circumstance. As a matter of fact, he says in verse 3, I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and so shall I be saved from my enemies. David does not place the power of his authority as king, of his ability to rule, of his overcoming his enemies in his own lap, but rather he places them at the feet of God and says that they are all because of what God has done. And so there's the primary attribute that David is going to lay before everything that is going to be discussed in this psalm. So what is God to David? David says that God is his fortress. He is his place of refuge. He is the place of safety. He is the one to whom he goes for everything when it comes to his troubles and his difficulties in life. But then in the second place, you drop down, you get about halfway through the psalm, and you drop down to verse 24. And there in verse 24, David says, the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness. Now he's going to go on over the next few verses, and he's going to talk about the way that God recompenses. The word recompense simply means to give back or to respond. And so you have David saying that the Lord recompenses, he responds to me according to my righteousness. But notice the other ways that he talks about it. Beginning at the end of verse 24, he says, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful. With a blameless man you will show yourself blameless. With the pure you will show yourself pure, and with the devious you will show yourself shrewd. The recompense of the Lord responds to each man according to their deeds and their actions. To the righteous, God responds with righteousness. To the merciful, God responds with mercy. To the pure, he responds with purity. He gives to each one according to what they've done. Now, notice the last statement. With the devious, you respond and show yourself shrewd. God has the ability to be cunning, and God has the ability to give back to others in the same way that they have given to him. In other words, you reap what you sow. And so here you have David using the statement that God is going to treat man the way man treats him. Jesus would state on another occasion that we cannot expect mercy from God unless we show ourselves to be merciful. And so David is here illustrating the fact that the Lord recompenses to man according to what it is that they do with their lives, which means if I want good blessings from the Lord, if I want the Lord to bless my actions, to give me what it is that I want and what I desire when it comes to salvation and things of that nature, I have to act a certain way and I have to do certain things. And then at the close of the psalm, down in verses 46 and following, David makes this statement. He says, "The Lord lives. Blessed be my rock. Let the God of my salvation be exalted. It is God who avenges me and subdues the peoples under me. He delivers me from my enemies. You also lift me up above those who rise against me. You have delivered me from the violent man." David closes the psalm in much the same way that he starts it. He does not take credit for everything that has been done. He does not try to show himself being greater than he is. Instead, he uses the opportunity of Psalm 18 to raise up God and to put God on the pedestal, to recognize that he is the source of salvation, and that he is the one who helps and provides and protects and watches over and keeps David in all of these various circumstances. When you look at Psalm 18, there are a lot of things that we could point to, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about in these 50 verses. But I think most of what is there is encapsulated in these three ideas. That the Lord is that place of refuge. That the Lord does return to man that which he receives from man. And that the Lord is the one who is responsible and the one who is willing to watch over us, to take care of us, and it is the Lord who is praised for all that he has done. These are some of the things that I've seen in Psalm 18. I hope that they are beneficial to you. Next time we'll come back and we will begin looking at the 19th Psalm. I hope you'll join us then. But until then, have a great day.